You know, I'm signing a presidential memorandum to establish the Memphis Safe Task Force, and it's very important because of the crime that's going on, not only in Memphis, in many cities, and we're going to take care of all of them, step by step, just like we did in D.C. We have virtually no crime in D.C. right now, and we're going to keep it that way. It's our nation's capital. We're going to keep it that way, or we're going to federalize it if we had to, but we don't have to anymore because it's in such great shape. This task force will be a replica of our extraordinarily successful efforts here, and you'll see it's a lot of the same thing, although the numbers here are really something. They're really bad. Now, we did send FBI in about 4 months ago to work, and it brought some of the numbers down, and they did a great job, but we're sending in the big force now. We also sent them into Chicago on a sort of a moderate basis, and we brought down crime a little bit in Chicago. But we're now going to bring it down very big. We're going to be doing Chicago probably next. I was with a great businessman, a man who is involved in all cities through his business. And I say, who do you think should be next after Memphis? And he said, sir, you've got to save Chicago. We're going to wait a little while. But he said, you got to save Chicago. You can't let it go. And this is a very prominent man that everybody knows. And this is from another man in Memphis was saying, Bill, he was saying, very interesting, he's on the board of FedEx, and his hotel is about a block away. And he said, when I walked there, I said, you know, I don't want to do this again. I never want to do it again. And they won't let me walk there. They take them in armored vehicles. They take the board members of FedEx in armored vehicles like a block away to the hotel. This shouldn't be the U.S. This shouldn't be the United States of America. The task force will be a replica, as I said, and it's going to be, I think, equally successful. This is a tremendous success we've had in Washington, I can tell you, and everyone knows it. And people in the White House that work here and other people that I know are calling me and thanking me. They're going out to dinners. They're doing things that they haven't done in years. The effort will include the National Guard as well as the FBI, ATF, DEA, ICE, Homeland Security investigations, and the U.S. Marshals, and more along the prosecutors. We're going to have DOJ led by U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Tennessee, who is here or not here? Who's that person here? That person is going to be very busy. So we're going to have U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Tennessee, and most importantly, Pam Bondi's here. She's heading it up, and she's doing an unbelievable job in every respect beyond this. So also worked with some of the members of the team right here on D.C., and we're very proud of that effort. We essentially had the crime down to a very low rate in 12 days, and within another 10 days after that, it was so incredible. And it continues at that level, and we're going to continue. We have to because it's our capital. This team will deploy the full powers of federal law enforcement agencies and enforcement generally to restore public safety and get dangerous career criminals off of our streets. We're going to get them off. In 2024, Memphis had the highest violent crime rate, the highest property crime rate, and the third highest murder rate of any city in the nation. Other than that, they're doing quite well, thank you. A person is 4 times more likely to be murdered in Memphis, Tennessee today than in Mexico City. It's been, and you know Mexico City is not a cakewalk. It's been overrun with carjackings, robberies, shootings, and killings. There were 249 murders, 429 rapes, 5,616 burglaries, and 12,522 violent assaults in just the last little while in 2024 and in pieces of 2025. Where it's actually gotten worse until recently when we sent the FBI down to see what the hell is going on. Last month, a vicious thug carjacked an elderly woman parked at the movie theater, dragged her out of the car, and body slammed her into the pavement, where she is still trying to recover. Probably won't be successful. So we're not going to allow this kind of savagery to destroy our society anymore. We're stopping it. We're doing it one by one. We have time. But we want to go quickly. We don't want to lose Chicago. We're going to lose Chicago. We're going to lose places like you go to St. Louis. St. Louis. We're going to lose St. Louis. We're not going to lose. We want to save these places. You're going to lose them. It was the way the man said it, he was a very high-quality man. I said, who would you do next? He said, sir, do Chicago. You don't want to lose Chicago. We're not going to lose Chicago. So we're going to have to go very big, and we're going to go probably, we're thinking about it for next Pam. We're going to hold it off. We're going to do some of the smaller ones. And the truth is, our people are so good. Gaddy, you're doing a great job wherever you may be. We're doing so good that I don't think we need too much practice, right? But we got to go and save our big cities, our great cities. Chicago's a great city, and we're going to make it great again very soon. And I think we can do that. Despite the tremendous size, I think we can do a real job, and we're going to give you the resources that you need. So with that, I'd like to just end by saying we're going to make Memphis safe again, and I'd like to ask Governor Bill Lee to say a few words, and then Pam can talk, and anybody else you'd like to talk to. We'll go through the whole list. We have all day long if we have to, because this is a very important thing. We have to save our country from violent crime. So, Bill?
Yes,
please.
sir. Mr. President, first of all, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your commitment for federal resources to the great city of Memphis. And it is a great city, and it has a great history and a great legacy. And we are very hopeful and excited about the prospect of moving that city forward. I've been in office 7 years. I'm tired of crime holding the great city of Memphis back. And I have spoken today with the director of the U.S. Marshals, with the director of the FBI, with General Bondi. We realize that this effort of multi-agencies that will combine the work of the Tennessee Highway Patrol and the local police departments, when we come together, we can make significant change in our city and the city of Memphis, and that is a powerfully important thing for the state of Tennessee, and I want to say thank you.
This will be your proudest moment when we see you in 4 or 5 weeks, maybe sooner. You're going to see numbers that will drop and plummet like you haven't, just like we did in D.C. They plummeted. Nobody can even believe it. And they're going to plummet. It'll be one of your really proud moments, and you've done a good job too. But this will be maybe your proudest moment.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
And the director, as the director said, the goal is sustained.
Right. Got to keep it.
Sustained crime lowering, and that with this effort, I believe we can get there. We can finally get there for that city.
Yep, we're going to have it sustained. Long time. And your people are going to get better and better, and your police force has been terrific. They're working with us very much, as you know. We started it, as I said, on a little basis, and we got it down quite a bit, but now we go in for the big march, okay?
And Director Patel and his team have done remarkable work so far. As you know, the numbers are great, and this will be one more step in the right direction for Memphis.
That's true.
Thank you.
He's done a very good job. Thank you very much. Pam, please.
President Trump, at your directive, we went in, as you all know, to D.C. and took over the city of D.C., working hand in hand with Metro Transit Authority. All of the agencies represented here today got over 2,000 violent offenders, got over 200 guns off the streets of D.C., and D.C. is safe again. And now, Governor, working with you and working with our 2 U.S. senators and all of our agencies working hand in hand, we're going to do everything we can to make Memphis safe again. That was President Trump's directive to us, and it's easy to do when you're working with such great leaders. And Secretary Noem, you have been instrumental in this, and Director Patel has already been into Memphis and gotten so many violent offenders and guns off the street, and that's what started it. And working, Stephen and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, thank you. We've all been going nonstop, working hand in hand together, and Gowdy Serralta, Terry Cole, and Director Driscoll of ATF wearing 2 hats, and Pete Hegseth with the National Guard, all working hand in hand and being out there for a month. You can't tell who's with what agency but for the T-shirt they're wearing, because everyone's working hand in hand, and that's why we've been so successful. We're going to do that in Memphis, and we're going to get crime off the streets.
That's great. Thank you, Pam. Great
Thanks,
job.
President.
Christy, go ahead.
Mr. President, Memphis has a high number of trafficking, significant human traffickers, child exploitation, drug trafficking. The local gangs there are extremely dangerous, and I'm so excited that you're going in there to work with not just the governor and willing local leaders, but also our Attorney General and all the leaders that are standing here today to help protect our children. So what's going to change dramatically is the families' lives that live there, and it's only going to happen because of you, because you're coming in. What has started there, you're going to put on steroids. The networks that you're going to uncover across this country, because of the work that's going to happen in Memphis, we're going to see every city get safer, because we're going to see those ties to other criminals that we're going to get out of the country. So we're a nation of laws. And sir, thank you for caring about every single city.
Thank you, Christy. Really nice. And what makes it to me so exciting is the success we had here so quickly. And, you know, we've taken close to 1,500 people out of D.C. But when I saw the result happen so quickly, and so many people are so thankful, and people that you pass them every day and they're fine, all of a sudden they're thanking me so profusely. It was so exciting what's happened, and continues to be what happened in D.C. And so that's what makes this, I think, even more exciting, because we know what's going to happen. We know we have the people. Look, we're sending in a lot of help. And these cities have been taken over for years, and the last 4 years under Biden, what's happened is just a disgrace. So it really has, what the success we've had here has made it to me much more exciting, because I think we're going to have proportionally. I mean, you have cases where it's even worse. I have some people, we have some people quoted today that we took out of papers. We're so grateful for the National Guard coming, said an owner of a Memphis tax service. It's so dangerous here. It's so darn dangerous that you can't get out of your car. If you get out of your car, he says, you get robbed, you get mugged, you get hit. You can't go to the market or a service station. So, yeah, I want to see crime stop, but I want to see the National Guard come in right away if that's what's necessary. There's a need. Here's another one from a director of a Memphis-based crime prevention organization. There's a need for more boots on the ground. You have to get them done fast before we totally lose it. They're going to lose it all. I got 2 guns put in my face, said another, within 5 minutes at 2 different locations. He said, I got a gun put in my face. Then I went someplace else, had another gun put in my face. I was scared. It never happened to me. I've never seen anything like it. Here's another one. I honestly thought he was going to kill me, said a 60-year-old Memphis carjacking victim. A man walked up, give me your car, you got 5 seconds to get out or you're dead. This is what we have in this page after page of the same kind of thing. Cash, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks to your brilliant foresight, you had asked us to go in quietly into these cities to help set the landscape, to work with the interagency, and to make America safe again. And we've done that under the FBI's banner program of Operation Summer Heat. And the results are only as good as the prosecutions. And because the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General have mobilized DOJ to successfully prosecute so many violent criminals, we have set the landscape for the interagency to come into Memphis and really make it safe permanently. As the governor and the senators and the other directors were saying, it's not a short-term mission, but thanks to you launching us early, launching us quietly, not looking for the credit, Mr. President, we greatly appreciate your support and the advanced foresight you had in doing that.
It's so exciting, and somebody had to do this. A president should have stepped up long ago and saved these cities. So it's not that I wanted to do it, believe me. Somebody had to do it, and we're doing it in a big way. Excellent. Pete, could you say a few words?
Yes, Mr. President. You know, from day one, the DOW, the Department of War.
I'm glad you made that correct.
Corrected it for you, sir. Has been proud to stand with our partners across the interagency, whether it's the Southwest border, whether it was Los Angeles getting ahead of that, whether it's right here in Washington, D.C., where Secretary Driscoll and the Army and the National Guard have taken the lead in helping across all of these great folks to secure the city. We are very proud to be here, to stand strong alongside law enforcement. We're glad that Memphis is the place to go. The volunteer state, we're not going to have any problems with the Tennessee National Guard being willing to go in and stand strong in Memphis, sir.
Not at all. And get ready, because you'll be doing a lot of other places that are almost as troubled.
You got it, sir.
Some of them are equal. You look at what's going on in Baltimore, where the governor was telling me how wonderful it is, and you can't walk across the street without being shot. Could I ask our 2 great senators to say a few words?
Of course,
please.
Mr.
Marcia?
President, thank you so much. I want to say a thank you to Director Patel, because he had promised that he would come into Memphis. We've had Operation Viper there this summer. There have been over 500 arrests. There are over 100 indictments. And Memphis had the best stats they have had in years this past August. Last month, it was the best August they have had, and it's because of the work that's been done. And now to have a new phase of this enforcement for Memphis, where we are going to have all of these agencies working as a team, as the governor said, making certain that this is a long-term effort to make Memphis safe again. Mr. President, we are so grateful and we thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. And this is an issue that's plagued Memphis since I was a boy, Mr. President. And it's time that we addressed it. And I appreciate your leadership allowing us to do that. And the team that you've assembled here is going to help us deliver the most fundamental responsibility of our government, and that's public safety. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. This should be something that is our primary goal. And certainly I hope to see Memphis become the safest city in America. And thanks for the effort of all of your team here to make certain that happens. Thank you, Governor Lee, and I want to say thanks to the Memphis Police Department and the Sheriff's Department there too, who have all worked closely to bring this together. I look forward to tremendous results.
And I want to thank the FBI for the last 4 or 5 months, because they have brought down the numbers quite a bit. Chicago here and a couple of other places that we can talk about later if anybody wants to. Could I ask you two guys, Terry, Gaddy, to have a couple of words also? You really did lead the charge here, and you've done such a great job. Please.
Mr. President, thank you for always supporting law enforcement. I think the major difference here in Washington, D.C. has been your support for law enforcement, has been empowering the men and women that are on the street working every single day. And I look forward to not only going to Memphis, but other places in Tennessee as well. And I think you'll hear from us real soon, Mr. President. Thank you for your support, sir.
We have plenty of places.
Yes, sir, we do.
You know the country very well. That's great. Thank you, Terry. Please,
Mr. President, I just want to say that we're honored once again to lead the charge with the United States Marshal Service, leading and joining 22 other federal agencies. I can say that today we spoke with over 30 of the local agencies, letting them know what to expect, giving them the template that we've done here in D.C., so they know what to expect. They're extremely excited. I think everyone is going to be well receiving the law enforcement surge that we're about to take to Memphis.
Great job.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask one of the best lawyers in the country. He is one of the best. Todd, say a few words, please. He is a great lawyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, look, I think it's been said for the past 15 minutes, the president ran on making this country safe again, and we do not make this country safe again unless we go into our cities where there's the most violent among us and go street by street and block by block and arrest the men and women in this country that are destroying cities and communities for the rest of us. And so what we plan on doing, as the governor said and the senator just said, this has been a problem in Memphis for a long time. We plan on delivering Memphis back to the citizens that are there to raise their families, to go to church, to be in their communities. That's our goal, and that's what we plan on doing, whether it takes 2 weeks or 2 years. That's what we're going to do.
Thanks, Tom. The great Stephen Miller, please say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The same emotion you do on television. That's hard to do. I think that's going to be hard to do.
President Trump's initiative here in Washington, D.C., is important to understand, is the most successful anti-crime initiative in American history. But just think about it for a second. In 30 days, President Trump put together a team that saw the largest ever violent crime reduction in any city in American history, something that people had not been able to do in 40 years. That is a momentous achievement. And now the president is going to take that same model to Memphis, and as he said, more cities after that. The team that President has put together has no equal today or anywhere in American history. I think what's happening here is that what the president has done is made clear. The power of federal law enforcement that was used for the last 4 years to harass and attack conservatives, to harass and attack Christians, to go after law-abiding families, the power of law enforcement under President Trump is going to be used to get all the criminals, all the violent offenders, all the murderers, all the cartels, and all the domestic terrorists off our streets. So whether you're Antifa, whether you're a domestic terrorist, whether you are a violent gang member, a drug trafficker, a trained Nicaragua killer, or anyone else that's threatening our people, President Trump is saying he's going to use his FBI, his DOD, his ATF, his DEA to wipe you out to put you in behind bars, to take you off the street, or to apply whatever legal consequences necessary. Mr. President, I'm honored beyond words to be a part of this team under your leadership as you've saved thousands of lives.
Thank you very much. Come on over. Let's sign that bill. You want to say anything about our great military real fast? He's what a job he's doing, this guy.
Mr. President, so our Army National Guard is honored to be part of this mission. This is their community. A lot of them are from D.C. They're from Tennessee. When you talk to them, when you talk to the actual population out there who interact with them every day, they say it's a blessing to have them as a part of their life. And then for the National Guard getting to have this where they get to improve their communities, where their kids are growing up and they're going to church, and this is where their families are. Many of them, sir, have said this is the honor of their lifetime, so thank you.
Look at that nice face, and yet he's a killer. That nice, beautiful face, and he's a total killer. I don't know how you do it, huh? Lowe's a great job. Everybody here is doing a fantastic job. All right, here we go.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you,
Do you have
sir.
any? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President.
No, thank you very much. Great job. Any questions, please? Brian? Yeah, Brian.
First of all, you've got to.
Did they take down the blue tent?
Yes, sir.
Last time he hit me with a blue tent and nobody knew what he was talking about. We found out, right?
Found out,
and it was gone the next day, and they had a lot of. That was not so easy. They had, that's a violent, radical left group. Okay, go ahead.
I got peppered with a lot of comments for doing that. They still have their First Amendment right, though. They're still out there protesting. But you've got an amazing team behind you. You've done an awesome job for D.C. I want to get ahead of a story that I think might come out. You pushed out an email earlier today really showing dozens and dozens of local media in Memphis highlighting all of the violent crime in that city. So they have no problem reporting the crime, but when you show up to solve it, they're going to run around town looking for that one person that says, we don't want Donald Trump in our city. What can you say to the media there in Memphis, Tennessee, to help let them know the people want you there in their city?
Well, I'm not sure they found that person, because I saw them doing some interviews, and it looked like they were looking, but they were very, in fact, that producer, that person, I think they lost their jobs, because everybody was saying, we want Trump to be there, they want the people right here to be there. Look, it's very simple. In Chicago, they're getting beat to hell, they're being shot. If you lose 6 or 7 people die over a weekend, they consider that a successful weekend. And when you consider that a successful weekend, that's pretty bad. I had the president of Poland here a few days ago, and we had a news conference. Many of you were here. And I made the statement. I said, we're very happy to announce that it's been over 2 weeks since anybody's been killed in D.C. And he looked at me like, is that supposed to be good? He's looking like, what kind of a place is this? And now it's been a long time, but and as I was saying it, I said, I'm not sure if that sounds good to somebody. It sounded great to you, but it doesn't sound good to somebody from a country where they don't have violent crime like we have. But now it's a long time since that's happened. We went for years where at least one person was killed. Now you're not seeing it all. It's like the border. Millions of people a year ago, millions of people poured into our country. In the last 3 months, there have been 0, as reported by largely Democrats, actually. The border is secure. The country is secure. We've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. And I'll tell you, a year ago, we were a country in tremendous trouble, probably a dead country if it continued. So we're very happy about it. And so just, in terms of your question, people have never seen anything like what we're doing, and I think they're very happy, and they want us to be there. They don't want to be mugged. Who would say, gee, I don't want the National Guard? And you need that in terms of numbers. And also, you look at those guys, I look at them, they're rough guys. They're, the Supreme Court voted recently on merit. We're a merit-based country again. I said they had tremendous courage to do that. We're a merit-based country again. When I looked at the people that were patrolling the streets for the National Guard and for others, I could see we're merit-based. They were rough-looking, they were tough-looking, and they love our country. So that's where we are, Brian. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, please.
Yes. Given with all the that's going on with Charlie Kirk's assassination and the left-wing, violence going on, do you have plans, and actually this is a great opportunity with all these do you plan on designating Antifa finally a domestic terror organization?
Well, it's something I would do, yeah. If I have support from the people back here, I think we'd start with Pam, I think. But I would, if you give me, I would do that 100%. And others also, by the way. But Antifa is terrible.
Are there other groups that you can think of?
There are other groups, yeah. There are other groups. We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with murder. And also, I've been speaking to the Attorney General about bringing RICO against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation. These aren't protests. These are crimes, what they're doing, where they're throwing bricks at cars of ICE and Border Patrol. And they come in with a beautiful new car. They're so proud. It's Border Patrol, ICE, it's got whatever it is. And they're throwing rocks at it. And after 50 yards, it looks like an old beat-up vehicle. It was just brand new. It was just bought for the purposes. And they don't have to take that anymore. I let it be known. We'll take responsibility. They don't have to take it anymore. And they don't want to take it. They were told by a past administration, it became almost a culture, if somebody throws a rock at you, do nothing. If somebody spits in your face, do nothing. And I say, when they spit, you hit. Do whatever you want. You do whatever the hell you want. I watched it so sick it made me. For 4 years, I had to sit home and watch people screaming at policemen and spitting in their face, and they weren't able to do anything. They just had a grin and bear it. They're standing up like a piece of steel. And a woman, in many cases, women, you can see they're professional agitators. I had one the other night. I had 4 the other night, all in one group, total phonies. I started to scream when I got into a restaurant, something with Palestine. And I said, well, I'm doing a great job for peace in the Middle East. I should get lots of awards for that, right? With the Abraham Accords and everything else. But a woman just stood up and started screaming. And she got booed out of the place, too. There were a lot of people in the restaurant. I went there to show how safe, and it was safe. I mean, the woman is just a mouthpiece. All she was a paid agitator. And you have a lot of them. And I've asked Pam to look into that in terms of RICO, bringing RICO cases against it, criminal RICO, because they should be put in jail. What they're doing to this country is really subversive.
Mr. President, can I ask you one on crime? Mr. President, can I ask you one on crime and one on Charlie Kirk? You floated potentially going into St. Louis. You mentioned you want to go into Chicago next. Could St. Louis be after Chicago?
It's going to be around there someplace. Yeah, we got to save St. Louis. Got to save these cities. This isn't like, we're going to do something. We have to save St. Louis. We have to save Chicago. I know all about Chicago. I have a great, beautiful building. I'm so proud of it. But, you get less proud when you see all the crime. When they announced 2 weeks ago, 11 people killed, this is over a weekend. I think they said 38 people shot and 11 people dead. And then you watch Pritzker get up and say, we've got crime under control. And I will say that Cash and the FBI did a good job. With a very light force, they went in, and for about 4 months, Cash or so, they've been working on keeping crime down. They have brought the numbers down a little bit. But those are the easy numbers. The first 20, 25% are the easy numbers. That's where it gets. Then you have to bring in the big forces, right, which is what we always intended to do. But I think the FBI's did a very good job. In particular, in Memphis and Chicago, they brought it down a little bit. Like 20% and 25%. Well, I guess it's not so little, but we have a long way to go. We think Chicago is going to be next, and we'll get to St. Louis also.
And on Charlie Kirk's assassination.
And New Orleans we want to get to, too.
Your FBI is investigating the potential role of left-wing organizations in the assassination. I'm wondering if you think if Charlie Kirk's assassin worked alone or if he worked with you.
I don't know. I mean, I can tell you he didn't work alone on the Internet, because it seems that he became radicalized on the Internet. That's just by watching same things that you're watching and hearing. It looks like he became radicalized over the Internet. And it seems like he has wonderful parents, brought in a wonderful neighborhood, smart guy, great boards, great marks, great student. and then something happened to him over a fairly short period of time. It looks like he was radicalized over the internet, and it's radicalized on the left. He's a left. I have a lot of problems with the left, and they get protected, and they shouldn't be protected. But as you understand, I think very well from the tone of your question. Thank you very much.
On Venezuela, on Israel. First on Venezuela, what can you tell us about this Venezuelan boat that was taken out? And do you plan to provide proof that these were narco-terrorists who were on their way to the U.S.?
Well, we have proof. All you have to do is look at the cargo that was, like, it's spattered all over the ocean. Big bags of cocaine and fentanyl all over the place. And it was, plus we have recorded evidence that they were leaving. We've recorded them. It's very careful because we know you people would be after us. We're very careful. The military has been amazing. And General Kane showed me a little while ago the clip, but you could actually see it. But you don't have to see it because we have recorded proof and evidence. We know what time they were leaving, when they were leaving, what they had, and all of the other things that you'd like to have. But we have noticed that there are no ships in the ocean anymore. We're seeing that there's like no ships, when the first one we went, there were hundreds of boats. Now there are no boats. I wonder why, meaning no drugs are coming across, probably stopping some fishermen too. I mean, to be honest, if I were a fisherman, I wouldn't want to go fishing. Just a nice, let's take a little trip, because I'd say, man, if maybe they think I have drugs downstairs. I don't want that. I think the fishing business probably been hurt, but there are literally no boats. This was a boat, and we were surprised to see it. Now, what does that mean? That means there's no drugs coming by sea, but they do come by land. And you know what? We're telling the cartels right now, we're going to be stopping them too. When they come by land, we're going to be stopping them the same way we stop the boats. And you'll see that. But maybe by talking about it a little bit, it won't happen. If it doesn't happen, that's good. But they killed 300,000 people in our country last year. And we're not letting it happen anymore.
And then on Israel, did Bibi Netanyahu speak to you directly to alert you that Israel was going to be striking Hamas sites in Qatar?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Yeah, go ahead.
How did you learn of it?
Same way you did. Go ahead, please.
You mentioned that the shooter was radicalized online.
I think so. By the way, when I say that, that's my opinion. I think he was radicalized online based on what they're saying.
Do social media companies bear any responsibility for that? And how does that?
I'm going to have to ask. I don't know. I'd ask Pam that question. I don't know if you or Todd could give an answer to that. Somebody has to bear some responsibility.
And President Trump, I've always told parents, you got to watch what your kids are doing on the internet, what they're doing online. What they're listening to, what they're reading. They're all online. They're all on their phones all the time. Parents have got to monitor that, because this starts when you're young. This starts when you're young, when you listen to these groups, when you watch these shows, and parents have got to just be vigilant. So sure, that's part of it, and they're meeting kids online who they think are kids, and they can be anywhere in the world and talking to them, and yeah, they are being radicalized.
Mr. President,
he went bad, and he just went bad very quickly in a sense, because he sort of led a very normal life, a life of, great education, schools, everything else, but somewhere along the line something happened. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. How will you send the National Guard into Chicago without cooperation of the governor and the mayor?
Well, if they do cooperate, that's good. If they don't, it's not going to matter to us at all. You know who wants to help us? Police department. They have no respect for the governor. They have no respect for the mayor. They respect us. And we found that in Washington. We haven't had total support in Washington from government, as you know, from everybody. I don't want to say the mayor because she was better than most, but we haven't had great, but we have had great support from the Metropolitan Police. They're like brothers of these people. They're really like brothers. You see that. They work together. And so if the governor wants to support, as I said to Bill, it's going to be his proudest moment. What he's going to do, the governor of Tennessee, what's going to happen with Memphis. In 3-4 weeks, we'll stand together and we'll say, look at this. The crime has almost disappeared, maybe completely disappeared. In Washington, they don't even know how to record it because it's down so much. They've never heard. I heard 87% is down. I said, really? Who are the 13%? Because it's more than that. It's actually more. Hard to believe, right? You're going to have the same results in Chicago. And we hope we have the governor's help, but if we don't, we're doing it without him.
And on social media, Mr. President, you had the framework that's been agreed to with TikTok, for example. Will China continue to have a stake in the company?
Well, we haven't decided that, but it looks to me, and I'm speaking to President Xi on Friday for confirmation of that, and, you know, frankly, more importantly, a big deal. And we've had very good meetings. As you know, we were in Europe, our people, Scott Bessent and Jameson Greer, and others. And it was a very big meeting with China. And, you know, they're treating us with respect. We treat them with respect, too. But it was very successful. And on top of it, we have what could be a very good deal. Don't forget, I've had more people say, could you try and keep TikTok alive? I use TikTok. I mean, I have to admit it in the election, and look how I did with you. No Republicans come close. I blew everyone away. You know, if you look back, not so long ago, Romney, he got like 7% of the youth. I got like 8 times that amount. I got tremendous numbers of youth. By the way, I want to say, Charlie helped me. And Charlie was the one, get on TikTok. He used to say to me, get on TikTok. Charlie was unbelievable. So probably, and I did. I had somebody named TikTok Jack. And he'd put that camera, he said, just a real quick statement, sir, like 10 seconds or less. They didn't like anything over 10 seconds, but it worked. But Charlie is the one that really, and my son Barron also. And I have to say, Don, Eric, the whole group, it's important. And it can maybe even bring us closer to China. We had a very good meeting with China. I was surprised. I didn't expect it to that extent. And I'm going to speak again with President Xi on Friday, and you know, I think that'll confirm things up.
On Charlie Kirk and crime. On Charlie Kirk, do you plan to speak at the funeral, and what would your message be?
Well, I'm going on Sunday. We're taking a whole plane load, and having. I was invited on Saturday, but I said I'd rather save it for Sunday. You know, we're going to have a stadium, and I'll bet that stadium is going to be pretty packed. Maybe completely packed. It's going to be big, but I'm going to be at the stadium, and I guess I'll say a few words. I don't know, but I guess I will. But I knew him very well. He was an amazing guy. He was all about young people, getting them started right. And he was like a magnet for young people. They just attracted to him. He loved them, and they attracted to him. His wife is a tremendous person, by the way. He always had great respect for his wife. He got married. I didn't know he was getting married. I heard he got married, and he loved her. I tell you, he really loved her. She loved him, and I think she'll have something to do with keeping that whole thing going. You know, Turning Point it became a very big deal, and I heard they had like 38,000. So he wanted to get it up to 20,000 chapters. That's a lot. That would have been a lifetime's work. I heard that over the last 4 days, they have 38,000 people wanted 38,000 chapters at colleges, schools, other places. Numbers that, nobody's ever heard of numbers like that. So I think Turning Point could be, through what happened, this horrible act, it could be maybe bigger than it could have ever been had he been there. And I will say this, he'd be very happy if he saw what was going on. And there's some very good people, because I speak at Turning Point quite a bit. And Charlie would call me up. So the last time I spoke to him, he said, sir, and I think it was Phoenix, sir, could you get to Phoenix? This was like in a day. I said, Charlie, I'm the President of the United States. You called me asking me if I could speak tomorrow in Phoenix. You can't do that to me, Charlie. But usually I ended up going. He was great. He was a great guy, and he didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve this, believe me.
Ilhan Omar, after his assassination, called Charlie Kirk a reprehensible human being. Should he strip of her community assignments?
I would say, I think she's a disgraceful person. I think she's a disgraceful person, a loser. It's amazing the way people vote. I know it's people from her area, maybe of the world. I don't know. They got here and they vote her in. It's hard to believe, but I think she's a disgusting person.
And one more question, if I could. A lot of these, in recent of these trans shooters that we've seen over the last couple incidents, This flag right here is up and down 14th Street. This is what would be a trans flag. A lot of people are very threatened by this flag. It means a lot of different negative things to people, violence. Would you be opposed to taking this flag down up and down the streets of D.C.?
Well, I wouldn't be. Then they'll sue and they'll get freedom of speech stuff, so that'll happen. But I would have no problem with it. I will say, and Steve might just mention this, Todd, you might mention it too, because we're putting out an order. Freedom of speech means you can burn the American flag, which I think is horrible. But I noticed something over the last little while. As you do this, you start noticing things that you wouldn't normally think. It really causes unrest and violence when they burn American flag. So the American flag, I wanted anybody burns the American flag, go to jail based on freedom of speech, goes to jail immediately. But the freedom of speech protected them, right? And that's been argued a couple of times. And it's one of those things. But you know what? Hasn't been argued, and we're going to be arguing it, I think, very soon. And that's the violence. They incite violence. So I saw it just yesterday. They burned the American flag, and people that were there were fine. And all of a sudden, they're going crazy, and there's fist fights. It wasn't in Memphis either. But I will say, it incites violence. And I think you just do the exact same thing. Don't use freedom of speech. Use the incitement of violence. I mean, it's really, you had to see, these people were going at it. Yeah. And, you could burn other things and people just sit there, they fall asleep. You burn the American flag, and on both sides. But the level of violence I saw this flag burning cause was incredible. It was an incitement. So I hope you guys are going to be able to do that, Pam, right?
Well, there's also groups called Trans-Tifa. So perhaps if you can label them a domestic terrorist group, in all reality, you could take that flag down because it would represent the Trans-Tifa.
I think you probably could. Again, you'll be sued, and it's okay. I've been sued before a couple of times, you may have seen. Anyway.
Netanyahu said that he doesn't rule out targeting Hamas anywhere they are. You said that you don't want to see Qatar hit again. Are there any guarantees that Qatar...
Well, he won't be hitting in Qatar. As I say, I call it Qatar, and you call it Qatar. You're actually more right, but actually you're allowed to go. The Emir said, you can say it any way you want, but I've always thought of it as Qatar. I think it's a beautiful sound. And actually, they've been a very good ally. And a lot of people don't know that. But he won't be hitting Qatar, but he will be maybe going after. Now, there was an article that I read in a newspaper just about an hour ago where Hamas said they're going to use the 20 hostages as human shields. They're going to bring them up from the dark tunnels, and they're going to put them in the line of fire so that if Israel goes forward, they're going to die. And I thought that was very terrible, and I put out a statement on that. You saw that.
Mr. President, I want Charlie Kirk, in retrospect, given all of the moving ways that this White House has paid tribute to Charlie Kirk,
right.
Do you think it would have been fitting to lower the flags to have staff when Melissa Hortman, the Minnesota House Speaker, was gunned down by an assassin as well?
I'm not familiar. The
Minnesota House Speaker, a Democrat, who was assassinated this summer.
Well, if the governor had asked me to do that, I would have done that. But the governor of Minnesota didn't ask me. I didn't. I wouldn't have thought of that, but I would have if somebody had asked me. People make requests for the lowering of flag, and oftentimes you have to say no because it would be a lot of lowering. The flag would never be up. Had the governor of Minnesota asked me to do that, I would have done that gladly.
And given the killing of Melissa Hortman, the attack on Paul Pelosi, the attack on Gabby Giffords, the attack on the Pennsylvania governor's mansion, why make the case that violence is only on one side? It seems to be taking place.
I didn't say it's on one side, but I say the radical left causes tremendous violence, and they seem to do it in a bigger way. But the radical left really is caused a lot of problems for this country. I really think they hate our country. Okay, yeah, please.
This may be related to the RICO work that you're doing, and I'd like to confirm.
And we are really looking at that seriously.
Vice President Vance was speaking with Stephen Miller earlier today about targeting NGOs that they were saying foment violence.
Right.
Is that? Can you speak more to that? And what NGOs specifically are you looking to target, sir?
A number of them. Steve, please.
Yes, so I believe what you're referring to is there are these nonprofit entities that organize, as the President mentioned, attacks on ICE officers, attacks on Border Patrol agents, organized doxing campaigns, which are a violation of federal law. They break off cement and they bring it into riots. They have organized drop points for weapons, organized drop points for a gas mask, organized drop points for all the materials necessary to launch a riot. And of course, you saw that during the Black Lives Matter riots as well, too. So there's this whole network of organizations. And I think the key point the President's been making is somebody is paying for all of this. This is not happening for free. And so under the President's direction, the Attorney General is going to find out who is paying for it, and they will now be criminally liable for paying for violence.
And you know, a new thing that I've been seeing a lot of lately, but never saw it before, is they're walking in with bricks and rocks and everything. And the FBI or the Border Patrol or ICE or the police are grabbing them and taking them away, and that's great. And then they whip out a hammer, and it's a beautiful hammer, really. It's nice. You know, this is not a hammer somebody happens to have. These are serious hammers, beautiful, brand new hammers, and they start breaking up the concrete sidewalks and the granite curbs in many cases. Granite is hard to cut, you know, it's very hard stone, and they're banging away and handing out pieces of stone. So instead of having it in bags, they're banging the sidewalk, knocking that. You have to see what some of these sidewalks look like when they finish, and especially the curbs, because the granite curbs are very, very expensive, and they're great, and you know, very hard. They are almost indestructible, but not when it gets pounded on for 20 minutes by some pretty strong guy. And then they hand out big chunks of stone so that people can throw them at the police and people can drop them off bridges into car windows. No, we have a long way to go, and we're going to make it all good. We're going to make it really safe. This country is going to be safe. We've got almost 3.5 years. Think of that, 3.5 years. It's a long time. It goes quickly. But at the end of that time, I hope one of the many things we can say is that we made our cities safe again. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on, TV. Everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.